Hi everyone, my name is Teacher Minette from ChrisAmericas.com, where we help you to level up and show the world the best version of yourself. Have you ever sat in a meeting and hear someone say, "Can you back me up here?" and thought they needed physical backup? Today we are diving deep into the world of phrasal verbs, those peculiar combinations of words that can dramatically change a sentence's meaning. Stick around, and by the end of this video, you will be wielding these phrases like a pro. Now I get it. Why bother with these tricky phrases, you might think? The truth? It's all about climbing that corporate ladder. Language isn't just about words. It's about connections, influence, and building relationships. Imagine misunderstanding a colleague during a crucial project briefing because of one simple phrasal verb. Not fun, right? Effective communication equals career growth. It's that simple. Alright, let's dissect these little powerhouses. Starting off with communication. Ever had someone break down a complex idea for you? No, they're not smashing it with a hammer. It simply means they're explaining something in detail. And when someone says they want to bring up a point in a meeting, they are just looking to discuss or mention it. Phrasal verbs related to communication at work are essential for effective workplace interactions. Let's take a look at some common phrasal verbs in this context. Number 1, catch up with. To have a conversation to get up-to-date information. For example, let's catch up with each other after the meeting. Number 2, check in with. To contact or communicate with someone to see how they are doing or to provide updates. For example, I'll check in with you later to see how the project is progressing. Number 3, touch base with. To briefly communicate or meet with someone to discuss something. For example, we should touch base with the team before making a decision. Number 4, speak up. To express one's thoughts or opinions more clearly and assertively. For example, don't be afraid to speak up during the meeting if you have any ideas. Number 5, hold off on. To delay or postpone a decision or action. For example, let's hold off on the project until we have more information. Number 6, cut off. To terminate a conversation abruptly or without allowing someone to finish. For example, I didn't mean to cut you off during the call. Number 7, break down into. To explain something complex in simpler terms. For example, can you break down the budget report into layman's terms? Number 8, phase out. To gradually discontinue or reduce communication or use of something. For example, we are going to phase out the old software over the next few months. Number 9, reach out to. To contact or connect with someone, often to offer assistance or support. For example, feel free to reach out to me if you need anything. Number 10, shut down. To dismiss or reject an idea, proposal, or argument. For example, they shut down my suggestion to change the project timeline. Number 11, bring up. To introduce or mention a topic in a conversation or meeting. For example, I'd like to bring up the issue of safety in today's meeting. Number 12, talk over. To discuss something thoroughly with others, often to make a decision. For example, let's talk over the details of the new policy before finalizing it. Number 13, hash out. To discuss or resolve a problem or disagreement through conversation. For example, we need to hash out the issues with the client to find a solution. Number 14, pipe up. To suddenly start speaking or contributing to a conversation. For example, she didn't say anything until the end of the meeting when she finally piped up. And number 15, chime in. To join or participate in a conversation or discussion. For example, feel free to chime in if you have any thoughts on this matter. These phrasal verbs are valuable for workplace communication, helping employees convey ideas, make decisions, and collaborate effectively. Let's move on to phrasal verbs related to meetings and collaborations. Now, if you're setting up a meeting, you are arranging it. Remember, this doesn't involve any physical construction, just planning. And when you want feedback on that brilliant idea of yours, you run it by a co-worker. Post-meeting, if there are still points to discuss, it's always good to follow up. It's all about ensuring everyone is on the same page. Phrasal verbs related to meetings and collaborations are essential for effective teamwork and communication in a professional setting. Let's look at more phrasal verbs in this context, starting with meetings. Number 1, setup. We already covered setup earlier in this video, but let's recap. Setup is to arrange or organize a meeting. For example, let's set up a meeting to discuss the project's progress. Number 2, call off. To cancel a scheduled meeting. For example, we had to call off the meeting due to an emergency. Number 3, run through. To discuss or review something quickly. For example, before the meeting, let's run through the agenda. Number 4, wrap up. To finish or conclude a meeting. For example, we need to wrap up the meeting within the next 10 minutes. Number 5, table a topic. To postpone or temporarily set aside a discussion topic. For example, let's table the budget discussion until the next meeting. Number 6, take notes. To record important information during a meeting. For example, I'll take notes during the meeting to keep track of key points. Moving on to phrasal verbs about collaborations. Number 1, team up with. To work together with someone as part of a team. For example, we should team up with the marketing department for this campaign. Number 2, pitch in. To contribute or help with a task or project. For example, everyone needs to pitch in to help meet the deadline. Number 3, carry out. To execute or implement a plan or task. For example, we will carry out the project according to the timeline. Number 4, flesh out. To add more details or information to an idea or plan. For example, let's flesh out the proposal with more specific data. Number 5, iron out. To resolve or smooth out differences or issues in a collaboration. For example, we need to iron out the disagreements before moving forward. Number 6, take on. To accept or assume responsibility for a specific task or role. For example, I'm willing to take on the role of project manager. These phrasal verbs are valuable for facilitating productive meetings and promoting effective collaboration in a professional setting. Moving on to phrasal verbs related to dealing with challenges. We've all run into problems, and no, I'm not talking about walking into a wall face first. This means that you have encountered an issue, and if you are tasked with sorting it out, it's up to you to find a solution. Now, let's talk backup. If you are in the midst of a heated debate and someone says, "Can you back me up here?" they are looking for your support. It's all about team solidarity. Using phrasal verbs in communication with colleagues is essential for clear, efficient, and engaging workplace interactions. They help convey meaning effectively, enhance your language skills, and contribute to a productive and harmonious work environment. Let's look at some phrasal verbs related to dealing with challenges. Number 1, pull together. To work collectively to achieve a common goal. For example, we can overcome this challenge if we pull together. Number 2, hand over to transfer responsibility or control to a colleague. For example, I'll hand over the task to my coworker while I'm on vacation. Number 3, take on. To accept or assume responsibility for a task or role. For example, she's willing to take on the role of team leader. Number 4, sort out. To resolve or settle a problem or disagreement. Let's meet and sort out the issues with the project timeline. Number 5, clear the air. To have an open and honest conversation to resolve misunderstandings or conflicts. For example, we need to clear the air and address the tension in the team. Number 6, patch things up. To reconcile and repair a relationship with a colleague. For example, After the argument, they decided to patch things up and work together. Using these phrasal verbs can help you navigate various aspects of working with colleagues, from communication and teamwork to conflict resolution and relationship building in a professional setting. For the last part of this video, we are going to look at phrasal verbs related to project management. Launching a project, you are going to kick it off. No, this isn't a soccer game. It's just the beginning of something great. And as things progress, you may need to lay out your plans, explaining them clearly. Finally, at the end of a project, it is time to wrap up. Think of it as the final bow on a gift. Phrasal verbs related to project management are essential for discussing the various stages and tasks involved in overseeing and completing projects. Here are some common phrasal verbs in this context. Number 1, draw up. To create or formulate a plan, proposal, or document. For example, let's draw up a new project timeline for the new product launch. Number 2, lay out. To present or explain a plan, strategy, or project in detail. For example, we need to lay out the project goals during the kickoff meeting. Number 3, set out. To establish or define the objectives and scope of a project. For example, in the project charter, we set out the project's purposes and goals. Number 4, map out. To create a detailed plan or strategy with specific steps. For example, we need to map out the tasks for the upcoming sprint. Number 5, follow through on. To ensure the tasks or actions are completed as planned. For example, we must follow through on the action items from the last meeting. Number 6, roll out. To introduce or implement a new process or product. For example, we will roll out the software update next week. Number 7, keep track of. To monitor progress and maintain records. For example, it's essential to keep track of project expenses. Number 8, work around. To find a solution or alternative when facing an obstacle. For example, let's work around the technical issue to meet the deadline. Number 9, to tie up loose ends. To complete remaining tasks or address unresolved issues. For example, before closing the project, we should tie up any loose ends. Number 10, wind down. To gradually reduce project activities as it nears completion. For example, as the project winds down, we'll shift our focus to the next one. 11, sign off on. To formally approve or authorize a project's completion. For example, the stakeholders will sign off on the project once they review the deliverables. These phrasal verbs are valuable for discussing project management tasks, processes, and challenges effectively, whether in meetings, reports, or day-to-day communication with team members and stakeholders. Okay, quick fire tips coming your way to help you remember phrasal verbs. Number 1, visualize the action the phrasal verb describes. For example, when you bring up an idea, imagine it rising from the ground. Number 2, practice makes perfect. Use phrasal verbs in your daily conversations. And number 3, keep a journal. Every time you learn a new phrasal verb, jot it down and make a sentence. We've covered a lot today, haven't we? From kicking off projects to backing up colleagues. Mastering phrasal verbs can be your secret weapon in the office. So flex those linguistic muscles and shine in your next team meeting. If you want to use English to take your career to the next level, then click on the link under this video to join our Level Up training. And if you want speaking practice with native speakers all day, every day, then watch our free 16-minute lesson about how you can understand what I am saying now but still can't speak. If you found this video helpful, do us a favor. Smash that like button, share the video with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe for more content to supercharge your communication skills. Stay curious, keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.